There comes a moment when staying is more dangerous than walking into unknown waters. This is my Jordan, my crossing from abuse and fear into obedience and life. If you're standing at your river, this is for you. I left for the sake of goodness and because God said, move. Not because I felt brave, but because obedience opens doors that fear keeps shut. I didn't know how the waters would part, only that the next step belonged to God. In Joshua 4, after Israel crossed the Jordan, God told them to lift 12 stones from the riverbed, memorials to his faithfulness. So these stones shall be to the people of Israel a memorial forever. Joshua 4:7. They weren't just for that day. When your children ask their fathers in times to come, what do these stones mean? Joshua 4:21. The answer would carry faith across generations. Notice the order. The priests stepped in first, then the way opened. The priests bearing the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord stood firmly on dry ground in the middle of the Jordan. Joshua 4:18. Obedience led to miracle, not the other way around. God also raised up leadership to unify the people. On that day, the Lord exalted Joshua in the sight of all Israel. Joshua 4:14. And the timing was perfect. The waters of the Jordan were cut off before the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. Joshua 4:7. When God says now, now is mercy. Those stones were a testimony, so that all the peoples of the earth may know that the hand of the Lord is mighty. Joshua 4:24. And the New Testament says, they have conquered him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Revelation 12:11. Your story, yes, even the painful parts, becomes a weapon in God's hands. Outpost 12:11 is a spiritual warfare refuge for those who've endured trauma, narcissistic abuse, religious deception, coercive systems, and deep soul wounds. We exist to steady the weary in recovery, restore them with truth, and empower them to rise as equipped, fearless followers of Christ. Rooted in Revelation 12:11, we hold that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb, the word of our testimony, and the courage to follow Jesus whatever the cost. This is more than a ministry, it is a rising harvest strategy for the battle against spiritual adversity. To those who've survived trauma and abuse, what was meant to destroy you does not get to define you. Joseph told his brothers, as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive. Genesis 50:20. God will not waste your suffering. He forges it into wisdom, courage, and compassion that rescues others. This is why Outpost 12:11 exists, a refuge and a rally point for those crossing their Jordan. We remember God's faithfulness, pass down the story, practice obedience, lead with unity, trust His timing, and lift our testimonies like stones that point the way. Here, we prepare for promise with God's presence at the center. If you're standing at the edge, this is your invitation. Step. Let God meet your feet. Gather your stones, your memories of His mercy, and build a memorial that tells the rest of God's children what He has done. Your crossing is not the end, it is the beginning. And they overcame Him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Welcome to the Outpost.